Okay.
Oh, and Kona, I'm sorry. Do we have any testifiers in Kona? Go
Okay,
ahead.
good. Good evening, Chairman and members of the committee. My name is Marlene Vashishta, and I'm a retired Hilo resident. I'm here today to express my opposition to the proposed fuel increase. And although some members have said that it's high time that it's, or let me read as, that it's way, way overdue, it does affect a lot of the residents here on the island. So the retired, the people with a lot of children, the people who are living on the outskirts. And I want you to consider it because I understand that from the interview that 3 members have already sort of had a decision in mind of where they're headed towards. And I want to ask you as a member of the public to consider our testimony. And I noticed that you wanted to be like Maui. However, that is really no comparison because Maui has a thriving economy, and a lot of the people off island from Oahu and on Maui are now moving to the island because because it's more reasonable than the other islands. And that's for one reason why I also moved from Maui here to the Big Island. And as I've been here for several years, I've seen increases in the weight tax, the safety check, the real property tax have gone up quite substantially, and now I see this fuel tax. And I think it would deeply affect a lot of the residents. I realize about the roads. I know that there may be other avenues in which you can look at increasing revenues, but I'm in total objection to this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope you will vote down the fuel tax hike. If it passes in about 2 years, people would start paying almost 3 times more in fuel taxes. Today, if you gas up with, say, 15 gallons, the tax is $1.32, but with the new tax, you'd pay $3.45. The fuel tax would be a triple whammy for low-income people. 1, they can't afford the tax. 2, they can't afford to live close to work or buy a fuel-efficient car, or they certainly can't afford an electric car. And 3rd, higher fuel prices mean higher prices for anything that requires transportation: food, clothing, furniture, construction activities, emergency vehicles. In short, everything would go up. As I've suggested before, we should consider doing a county surcharge on the general excise tax. As you know, Honolulu does a 0.5% surcharge. Some things could be exempt from the surcharge, like food, medicine, clothing, and textbooks. And there could be tax holidays for certain items. Like before the new school year, you could have a tax holiday on school supplies. And if you're low income, you buy less stuff, and therefore you pay less of this tax. I know we have a terrible budget crunch, but let's figure out how to raise money without hurting low-income people. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Can I call to the table Joyce Felina and Gregory Smith? In Ka'u, can you state your name for the record and then proceed?
Michael Anderson. And I'm a commuter. I work and I already spend about $70 to $80 in gasoline in order to get to work every week. And so this tax will affect me, and I wanted to speak also on behalf of the other commuters who can't be here because they've probably just gotten off work or are still working. I feel the same way about them. They'll be heavily affected also. And that's pretty much it. I agree there should be other ways found to cut the budget or raise taxes in some other way. And thank you, Madam Chairman. Thank you, County Council.
Thank you for your testimony. Okay, if we can go to Kohala, if you could state your name for the record and then proceed.
Thank you, Chair. My only testifier is April Lee, and she will be testifying in opposition to the gas tax. Please state your name.
Aloha, honorable council members. My name is April Lee, and I'm also testifying for Jasmine McCracken and her family who live on a farm. Also, I'm testifying for my friend Kim Sanders, who's very upset but couldn't make today, and she lives in Puna and works and drives quite a bit to work. For Lisa Andrews, who hoped to make it here today, but a tree fell across her front driveway. Also for Kathy Krapita and her husband Keith Krapita, who drive long distances for work. I just drove today 70 miles myself, and because of my location here in Hawaii, I end up driving a truck because I can't get enough people to help me remove debris and that kind of stuff from my yard. So I'm looking at how many people, especially that I know in Puna and the east side of the island where I own a property since '83, are going to be really impacted by this in a negative sort of way. We don't see them here today. I'm so glad that prior two ladies spoke up and came to this meeting, but many of them right now are driving home, and this is going to impact them a lot. Many of them that I know are just making it. You know, they don't have any extra income and they're using what they have every month to provide the food on the table and, you know, what their family needs and just essentials. So adding a tax to these people is really taking part of their quality of their life away. I think that we don't know what you're using this for, and is any of this going to be used to fund the rail in Honolulu? And then you say you're going to work with this fund to improve roads, but how much of the percentage? There's no real breakdown as to actually how much of this tax is going where. And I think that we need to be accountable to the people that will be paying it, because there have been many, many times throughout the last 200 years of this country where some brilliant person has said something like Tom Paine, who said, "The power to tax is the power to destroy." And I would hope that your wisdom, members of the council, would apply here when you think about the fact that this tax is very destructive for many of our families. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. We'll go to Pahoa. If you can take your first two testifiers, state your name for the record, and then proceed.
My first testifier I have speaking is Francis K. Stapleton, opposing to increase the county fuel tax, followed by Dave Kaiser.
Good evening, council members. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. My name is Francis K. Stapleton, also known as Frankie, and I am a 40-year resident of Hawaii County, living in Lower Puna, among the fastest growing districts in Hawaii, with a population with the least resources and most substandard subdivision, thanks to Hilo's founding fathers, who made their fortunes selling off lava lands with no thought to providing for the population. Now, here again, we have a Hilo-centric, county-administrated proposed fuel tax rate hike that nearly triples the current fuel tax in just 2 years. I am here to testify in opposition to this unbelievably regressive tax increase. I am just one of approximately 48,000 senior citizens out of Hawaii County's 2016 estimated population of almost 200,000 people. 48,000 seniors. Of that, 26% of those seniors live alone in Hawaii County. That means they have no one else contributing to their living expenses or available to drive them anywhere. And every survey conducted in the past few years by the Hawaii County Office of Aging identified transportation as all the seniors living here as their number one need and concern. Even with no emergency room or hospital in all of Puna, transportation is still the number one concern. How, dear council members, do you think this additional tax burden is going to affect people who currently face unknown but major cuts to Social Security and Medicare health benefits. We barely escaped a 10-cent state fuel tax increase this past month that we know will be revisited in the next state legislative session. Where is the justification for this fuel tax increase? It would be different if the Helion bus system wasn't such a sad, wasted joke. The only way I could see supporting such an increase would be if the Kim administration would set up regional population center shuttle buses, such as in Waimea, shuttle buses serving subdivisions around Pahoa, Ka'u, Keau, Volcano. Mayor Kim courted Bernie supporters in last year's election, claiming he had supported him for decades. Bernie would not support this regressive fuel tax, and I urge Hawaii County to stand up for its citizens island-wide and oppose this fuel tax increase. Mahalo nui and malama pono.
Thank you for your testimony. Your next testifier, please.
My name's Dave Kaiser, and I oppose the tax. First of all, I don't make any more money than I did before, and for myself, not just for anybody else, but myself, paying that much more. I don't know. Well, when my parents were in the Army, they say the eagle defecated on payday. Unfortunately, my eagle is constipated, and there's not going to be able to be that much more coming out of it. I just, you know, it's easy to look at a column, a spreadsheet of a column of numbers and say, blah, 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 blah. I mapped AIDS data for LA County. It was supposed to have been impersonal. It got personal, believe me. But, you know, you don't think about the consequences of some poor schlep just sitting there wondering, how am I going to pay my bills? You can bounce a check real easy. I mean, there's people in this county, this is Puna. I mean, there's some people here who are wondering how they're going to, you know, people here, do I make it from paycheck to paycheck? Do I make it from the inter-paycheck to the paycheck? Maybe not, I don't know. Houses are going to be foreclosed. That's another consequence. You can't buy your gas, you can't get your work, you can't get to work. Things are going to happen. Bad, nasty things are going to happen. Oh, and speaking of which, remember when the dollar charge for the garbage can, for the trash bags was added a while back? And people opposed that because they were afraid there was going to be mini trash dumps all over. There will probably be mega trash dumps all over where people can't afford their gas. These are just a couple of the small consequences that you've got to think about if you raise the taxes that high. It goes way up above their level. They're just going to sit there and wonder, how am I going to do this? How am I going to get water? How am I going to go get my gas? There's just things they're not going to be able to do. So I urge you, maybe throttle it back a bit. Maybe instead of going to 19, maybe make it much lower. If you have to do this, well, there's a little sign, saying, you're familiar with Bohica? It says, bend over, here it comes again. Well, we don't need that. We really don't. It's just this is too steep. It really is. It's like taking a sledgehammer to yourself and saying, oh, wow, this feels good. No thanks. I can't support this. I like Harry, and he's a great guy, but this is just not something I could support, and that's it.
Okay. Thank you. We'll come back here to Hilo.
My name is Joyce Alberta Folina. I'm a resident of Puna, Council District 4. I live in Leilani Estates. I've been in Puna since the beginning of 1984. So I understand that the county definitely has to have some more money. There's dollars and cents point that way. And since all these subdivisions were beginning to be cut about 60 years ago, they weren't given the proper attention that they should have been given a long time ago. Now the population is rising. The roads need repairing. New roads need to be cut and paved. I'm conflicted with this. I really, really understand that people that live in rural areas in both Puna districts and in Ka'u are going to be very, very, very difficultly impacted by this relatively large hike. My suggestion, if you're going to pass this, please raise it in more equal increments, such as, 4.7 cents, 4.7 cents, and 4.8 cents, rather than the large rate hike that you're proposing here. I would, instead of having this gas tax, this fuel tax, I would like to see property tax, real property tax raised with appropriate exemptions for financial strata and sizes of homes and small businesses, so that the large businesses such as Walmart, et cetera, Target, whatever, and people that have million-dollar homes, multi-million-dollar homes, would be paying what I would consider their more fair share of the taxes, because they can really afford it. And most of the people in Puna and Ka'u were pretty low income, respectively. I understand that the Mayor Harry Kim, is reaching to be able to pay the bills. And
you have 30
in our
seconds.
past, I beg pardon?
You have 30 seconds.
Thank you. In past testimony, I myself and quite a few residents have been complaining about the state of our roadways. If we want to have them improved, we have to pay for them. And we have to pay for them by raising taxes somewhere. So I'm not opposing, I'm not supporting, I'm commenting, because I don't have all the facts. People with better minds than my own will be able to shuffle through this. But please consider raising the property taxes with appropriate exemptions. Thank you.
Thank you. State your name for the record and then proceed.
Gregory Smith,
Thank
Puna. I'm again, like Joyce, very conflicted because I know very well the desperate need of money for the county, particularly in improving transportation, connectivity, particularly in our districts that have been underserved, on the south side of the island, and other rural districts around our island. I mean, the main thing is that if you have to put a vehicle tax, I would say lean on the weight tax because it's least offensive. It's a flat tax, and if you're a commuter, you're not going to get penalized for commuting your 40 miles a day from Puna into Kona or whatever. And I did that years ago when I was working full time, and I was actually getting paid union rates at the time. It was $27 an hour, which is twice as much as I made here in on the east side, right, at the time. And after all expenses were paid, my net was only 10% more than I normally make working full-time in the east side. That was because of the wear and tear on the truck, the fact that I had to eat out, I had no shelter, I had to camp out on the job sites, shower in the beach, because the builders and the developers, they want to build on the high end. They don't want to build affordable housing for workers. Certainly not in Waimea, certainly not in Kailua Kona. Not then. We were building multi-million-dollar houses, and we couldn't afford a place to live. Except us camping out. So, I understand that. On the other hand, I think that, Ms. Hardin's idea of an increase in the excise tax by 0.5% dedicated to roads, what might be a solution. Again, if you're going to have to do some increase in vehicle tax, put it on the weight tax, because one of the main problems over the past, say, 30 years is fuel efficiency. We are making less money because we're just not using as much fuel, generally. And the fact is that, the vehicles are actually, amazingly so, actually gotten heavier, which
you have
actually
30
causes
seconds.
more. Thank you. actually causes more wear and tear on the roads, more maintenance, and more money that we have to spend. So, in any case, I think that, but I also think too that you have to catch up and keep parity. One of the reasons we have this steep increase is because nobody, nearly for 20 years, actually visited this tax on a regular basis to keep up with inflation. But I've been there before, and I know how hard it is. Thank you.
Thank you. Shannon Matson and El Nika to the testifiers table here. Is there a El Nika and a... What is, excuse me? Okay, thank you. Okay, so let's go to Kohala. Can I have your testifier, please? State your name for the record and then proceed.
Aloha, my name is Lisa Andrews. Aloha, everyone. Thank you for taking our testimony today. I wanted to come out and let you know that, yes, we love Harry Kim out here, but this tax creates a tremendous hardship for the residents of Kohala. So many of us work in Waimea, Waikoloa, Kona, the resorts, and it is just way too much to put onto the good folks of Kohala. Also, a lot of our monthly shopping trips involve going to Kona. Our hospital trips and doctor appointments are in Kona and Waimea. It involves an hour, hour and a half of just driving or sitting in traffic. No, there's got to be a different way to pay the bills and a different way to tax. And I think Jen Ruggles has some good ideas. I'm looking to see what we can come up with instead of this terrible, terrible burden on hardworking people. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll go to Pahoa, your last testifier. State your name for the record and then proceed.
Hi, Toby Hazel. Well, it sounds like whether you're retired or you're working, you're screwed. I guess you hate poor people. I hate being poor. I'm sorry, I don't see a way to getting out of it. And as these costs rise up to strangle us, you guys in the government sit there with your cushy jobs. And no, I don't love Harry Kim anymore. I'm over it. I'm over you, Harry. I'm over it. I mean, he's taking the fresh food program. He won't stand up for that. Now we're going to have all these taxes. And, how are we going to deal with all this? We don't have any mass transit. I mean, Tom Brown might as well still be there with his Mana Morta, on the wheel for all the good that this mass transit is doing. And what? Even on the weekends, we can't go anywhere if you need the mass transit. I mean, I'm very fortunate. I took some of my last savings and I bought a car that is not breaking down. Thank you. Thank you. But it is not gas efficient. It's not electric. I can't afford that yet or ever. I mean, what? You're going to get blood out of a stone? Go ahead. Beat the stone. Beat that blood out of the stone. Go ahead. I mean, you have to look, you people that are governing have to look at the monies that you are making and what you are asking from people who do not make money to give you. It's actually obscene. I don't know what to do with all of you. I know what Mao Zedong did. He shot a lot of people. And in the French Revolution, that's what finally happened. I don't know if it's ever going to happen in our country. Just keep pressing people to the wall. Let's see what happens. Gee, this is fun. We could do this again. Yeah, I mean, I'm really pissed off about the fresh food thing. 10 years. That fresh food program was working just fine. I mean, you're going to ask more for people and take away the little bit of stuff that they had. And, the county didn't do it. The state did it. The state did it. We didn't do it. The Fed did it. We didn't do it. Yeah, I'm really watching, I'm really making calls and figuring out just how this is done to keep everybody's hands clean. No, you have to figure out something else, or go back to that, eliminating your salaries for 6 weeks or something. Thank you.
Thank you. Come back here at Hilo.
Thank you. Thank you, Council. My name is Shannon Matson. I'm the owner of Hot Yoga Hilo, and I'm speaking on behalf of my business as well as personally and on behalf of my family. And yes, I am also very much opposed to this increase. I'm very, very opposed, Harry. And I did support you, Mayor Kim, and I still do. But I think that, as previous testimony has already stated, I understand we need to pay for our roads, but this is a regressive tax. It's unfair. It's disproportionate to the amount of those who have the least already are commuting the most. And we all know gas is going to continue to rise, right? So right now we're lucky. It's hovering around the $3 range, but it's going to keep going up unless we have some brilliant ideas for that. And so I looked at some of the numbers, and I'm not a numbers person. I'm a yoga teacher first. So I'm sure you guys have better people than me who have already figured this out. But what it breaks down to is those who live in Pahoa. So we're just going Pahoa. That's not that far away. It's only about 20 miles one way to Hilo. Almost everyone who lives in Pahoa has to commute to Hilo at least a couple of times a week if they're not commuting daily for work or for school or for the hospital or to get groceries or for any other reason. So that breaks down to about 40 miles per day. So then we're looking at what they'd be paying just at $3 a gallon. So this is assuming gas doesn't go up. They're going to be paying $5 more per month initially, and then eventually $6 more per month, which breaks down to $72 more per year. And that's going to put the difference between those who live in Hilo and those who live in Puna, or only Pahoa, so not even deep Puna. They're going to be paying over $1,000 more per year to drive because they're commuting 800 miles more than someone who lives in Hilo. So we're talking $72 might not sound like that much because you're like, oh, $72, yeah, okay. But for some people, that is a lot. And when you think that they're already paying $1,000 more than someone who lives in Hilo, that's just absolutely unfair. It's just really hard for those families. It's going to hurt my business because as a business owner, a lot of my customers commute from Puna. And they're already combining their trip to visit my business with a lot of other trips that they're doing in Hilo. But they're going to stop coming. They're not going to come as frequently. They're going to come less. They're going to figure out other ways to do the things that they need to do because it's just going to be impossible for those families to make ends meet to do that. So I think we really need to look at other options first. And as hard as it is, I know, to increase taxes, it's even harder to take away taxes. So once you guys pass this tax, it's not going to go anywhere. It's going to be here, and it's only going to continue to go up, which is going to be affecting my child and future children's generations. So I think my time's about up. But I just want to say, until we can get our state legislature to pass a fair living wage, no more tax increases on the low and middle income families on our island. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your testimony. Okay. Next, if you could state your name for the record and then proceed.
Yes, Nicaragua. I know none of you can pronounce that name just because you killed 60,000 of us. Okay, well, so it's strange how we jail the really petty thieves, but we appoint the really big ones to public office. And of course, that would certainly go to the previous mayor, and Kim seems to be following close behind with his lying about not raising taxes, especially property tax. Apparently, Jen Ruggles is the only person concerned about people who are disadvantaged. But you people will probably use this for your salary raise because you can never get enough money. Once you get on this system, boy, you're open. Okay, you double the car registration to get rid of junk cars. But of course, it wasn't used for that. You just simply made it permanent. I had to pay to get my cars, junk cars, removed. I remember when you put in mercury lamps for the observatories with a 5% gas increase. You were going to do it, but I checked out. Just as this, there is no statement anywhere where this money is going to be used for. And I checked out at that time too. And there was no statement that it would be used for the mercury lamps, other than just raise your salary. Isn't it strange? And Kim goes on about the millions he saved. Electric cars and so on. But did anyone notice how many millions he spent for his savings? Did he really save anything, or did he spend more, especially with that idiotic cost of police cars? And we all know that $65 million that you just approved for the out-of-control police department could probably be less, especially for their overtime work at the airport. They failed to kill my wife, but they came very close by pure luck. But she's not an American, so it doesn't matter, because you're only concerned about Americans.
You have 30 seconds.
Yes, I know. I speak on Channel 54 4 times a week about this. So I'm accustomed to what you people say. You don't care about the fact that this country kills 20 million in 2006, 20 million per year, starving to death, men, women, and children, but that doesn't concern anyone here. They're not Americans. Why should you care? Why should you care? Kill everybody. You can kill as much as you want once you get to be 17 by the Department of Propaganda. Oh, did I say propaganda? The Department of Education, which teaches children with the military on campus all over, but at least the California children managed to get the military off their campus.
Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you.
Before we go back to Pahoa, I know we have one more testifier, they said in Pahoa. I'd like to call to the table Hannah Hedrick, Geoff Shaw. And in Pahoa, can you please state your name for the record and then proceed?
I'm Patrice McDonald, and I'm testifying against fuel tax revenue increase, basically due to the inequality of benefits and services that this tax would entail. We have properties in actually both districts in Puna, and even the fuel tax revenue benefits Highway 130 and doesn't benefit Highway 11 at all. And we also pay for the only public used road through any subdivision which has from 45,000 to 75,000 vehicles using it, and we have received absolutely no fuel tax revenue since it was easement to the county in 1998. They have failed to comply with any condition of the easement on that road. So my main point is that fuel tax revenue is not an equal benefit or services to any of the rural subdivisions in this area. And I testify against it because of mostly the inequality of services and benefits. Mahalo.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
Hi, and my name is Hannah Hedrick. I'm a 20-year resident in Fern Forest at the 20-mile mark in District 4. And thank you for this opportunity to, again, address you about some of my ongoing issues. After passage of the Puna Community Development Plan in 2008, I sponsored talk stories in Upper Puna on major implementation issues, including alternative fuel taxes for connectivity and for the substandard subdivision roads. And at that time, we were told that somehow it was illegal, that they couldn't do that. They couldn't give money to the subdivisions, and nothing happened. And this is the first time I've heard this brought up again since then. I support improving roads in substandard subdivisions. I also support the substandard subdivisions in assessing their residents fully. We have mandated road fees, so every resident pays, but in some of them they don't have mandated road fees. I also support mass transit, and I support revenues for mass transit. I trust the current county council members, especially our Puna reps, who are unbelievably knowledgeable and supportive of what's going on. And unlike Toby Hazel, who was a major supporter for mass transit to the airport in the early days, I trust Curtis Sharp, the new MTA administrator, after hearing him talk in Kea'au last week. But I do have some questions and some issues. What assurances do we have that the MTA master plan will include hub and spoke and other basics from the Puna Community Development Plan, that increased revenues will be used appropriately? What assurances do we have, and I know you guys can't answer this, but planting some seeds, what assurances do we have that the increased revenues will be used to reduce fossil fuel use via inter-subdivision connectivity? These were two major priorities in the PCDP and I think the other CDPs. Currently, small groups of individuals block an existing road connecting Fern Forest and Eden Rock, and a family with 9 kids who lives right next to that, they have to spend an hour a day extra to get to their jobs and to their homes. And so I'd like that young lady to do the financials for how much more it would cost them if the fees increased.
You have 30 seconds.
How will revenues be allocated? Include implementing the Puna connectivity plan being developed by Frank DeMarco. The August 2016 connectivity report to the county council laid out the priorities, but to date, not one single inter-subdivision connectivity location has been created, period. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. And no, so go ahead and Mayor Kim, if you could come up to the testifier's table, and then if you could state your name for the record and then proceed.
My name is Jeff Shaw, and I'm here to support my council person, Jen. And you know, if you guys would have shown more support for the initiative that she put out to state the obvious that Puna and Kau need a lot more attention, then you know you might not be hearing what you're hearing today. But you know there's a lot of things going on that if they were given the proper attention, if the bus system was able to take some of the load off the commuters, you know, then it might be a different issue. And also at the state level, they may be able to do a remedy for the you know, for the commuters, but I don't think there is any remedy at the county level. It's just you know you have to decide whether you're just going to pay it or not, and if you fill up your car, you're going to pay it. You know, so there is no remedy. Well, at the state level, they could do something where, you know, when you file your state taxes, you know, you could have an exemption. You could get some money back, you know, because they do that kind of stuff. But on the county level, I don't know what you can do as far as that's concerned. So, you know, it is just basically putting all the pressure on the commuters to, you know, pay more than their fair share, because there isn't enough real planning going on to make it so that people have jobs where people live. You know, basically you're planning by default, because all the affordable housing is in the rural areas, and so you know you end up moving there, and then you end up paying more in taxes, because that's just the fate with, you know, if this is your choice. And I guess I'll let Harry go from here. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. I'd like to call up Floyd Eglin up to the testifier's table. And Mayor Kim, if you could just state your name for the record and then proceed. Thank you. Oh, there you go. Oh, No. Press it one more time. There you go. Thank you.
Harry Kim. I just need the council to know that I'm not insensitive at all to the position we put you in regards to consideration of raising taxes. And talking with most of you individually, you know, I do hear the comments, and I know you do. I wish I had more time to talk about it, but I just want to ensure people, I know they don't trust me in regards to certain things. In regards to the fuel tax before you, the last time we proposed it was 88. When I was mayor the last time we proposed it, and the council determined that it was better to increase the vehicle weight tax. And of every tax system there is in this country, you know, there's pros and cons. At that time, and to some degree this time, also on the vehicle weight tax, the reason I favored the fuel tax was in regards to, I thought was fair. It was based on companies, small and big, that would have to come in and pay in one sum for all the vehicles, that if they had 10, 20, 50 or more. And I've had so many appeals from small company owners that this is such a financial drain on them, and that fuel tax would be better for them in regards to spreading it out. And I'm not saying that's right or that's wrong. I'm just saying different viewpoints of taxes. In regards to the comments made on the transit system, I promise this council that hopefully you'll be proud of your work in a year from now. Whether it takes that long or less, I hope less. But we will work on it. Naturally, I'm asking you, the council, naturally, I'm asking the audience of this county of Hawaii to trust what we say. Some people may not know the fuel tax increase that we're asking for. Fuels pays in part the transit system. That's where they get the money from, the fuel tax. I need council to understand what I said. I am not insensitive to the position I put you in to make decisions on belly to belly or back to back tax increase.
You have 30
everyone knows how
seconds.
unpopular that is. I ask you to review this. The people that will have the expertise to comment on it, I'll just say generally, this is one tax system that I feel can very openly show you and the public where this money is going. You know, that money obviously will be spent for what it is determined by law shall be spent to improve your roads and to pay for the transit system. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your testimony. I'd like to call Jonathan Hanley to the testifiers table. And if you can state your name for the record and then proceed. Thank you.
My name is Floyd Eglin, and I'm familiar to some people. I can understand what he was saying. I'll be honest with you. On the first one I read it, I said, wow. But then again, we got choices. We got smart minds here. We can all get our minds together and try to find solutions. We can all, or we can bellyache. The main thing is, I think I know someone mentioned about Puna. A lot of the subdivisions in Puna, when I first got here in the 70s, were built by contractors, and the people in that area were supposed to take care of their own roads. The county cannot go on private property and fix no road. And if they do, then we will have another problem. Secondly, we can have choices in life. We can have holes in the road and complain, or we can fix the roads. That's our choice. And if we speed in the holes, we'll have broken cars. So the choice is all up to us. So I think instead of bellyaching, we need to sit down and find a solution. It's not Mayor Kim's fault for where we are today. It's not your fault. We had so much downturn in the economy, and now we reaping those downturns. So why don't we just all get our heads together and try to find a solution? I think that would behoove all of us. It's your vote. You vote the way you think is necessary.
Thank you. Okay, if you could state your name for the record and then proceed.
My name is Jonathan Hanley, and I live in Waiнаku. And I was off island for many, many years, but my family's been here my whole life, basically, except for, little toddler times. And yeah, the last speaker actually covered something that I was thinking about while I was sitting back there, and it had to do with all the developing subdivisions back when I was a kid, and there was nothing out there. And, the developers, would just bulldoze a rough road and then, sell lots. And, when you're buying in those areas, there's no guarantees. You bought it as is, just like any other contract. And the expectations on the county and stuff, and what made it so affordable was the fact that you didn't have all those amenities and stuff. But most important, I think, out of all this is, these dollars, if there is an increase, definitely there has to be clear earmark for the roads and the roads only. I mean, that is a key. And the other thing is, obviously the weight tax deals with the abuse a vehicle puts on a road. That's why it's a weight tax. And it would be an obvious place to get the tax dollars to repair the roads. That was the whole intent of that tax by its title. And, it makes sense. But, I do understand the other argument as well. The strain of long commutes. I know plenty of people commute to Kona every day. And I see what's happening now. A lot of my friends, they reach the point where they don't want to ride the bus, because then it's an hour each way extra compared to when you jump in your car and, you commute with somebody from work and you're across Saddle Road an hour and a half instead of coming all the way around and, no telling what the traffic's going to be like over there with the bridge work and whatever else. So, but above all else, if something is going to happen, whether it be, the fuel tax, which I think is kind of extreme, especially in the breakdown that it's in. A lump sum up front.
You have 30 seconds.
Okay, and so I think it'd be more reasonable, do it in shorter or smaller intervals. But personally, I don't like the tax at all. We got the highest, it's, we're paying like twice as much as anybody on the mainland except for maybe California. So again, earmark those funds for where they need to go, the roads, and maybe make it a little less brutal right off the bat. But personally, I'm opposed to raising the tax at all. Thank you.
All 9 council members are present. We have our 3 council members in Kona, Councilmember Eoff, Councilmember David, and Councilmember Kanua are in Kona. So all 9 are here, and this concludes our public hearing. So thank you for coming. Aloha.